Episode 2 of Heartstopper focuses on Charlie and Nick becoming closer friends, Nick questioning his feelings for Charlie, and Elle making some new friends at school. We also get to know everyone a little better and widen the fantastic cast of characters. The episode opens in the evening after the attack from Ben, with Nick and Charlie messaging each other. We see both of them struggling to put into words what they are feeling, and both of them seem unsure about where they're at with each other at the end of the conversation. We get to spend some time with Elle and see that she's really struggling to reach out and make some new connections and friends. In contrast to this, we see Charlie, Teo and Isaac talking at school over Charlie's crush on straight boy Nick. Things improve for both Charlie and Elle when Nick asks Charlie to come over to meet Nelly. More on Nelly later in the video. And Tara reaches out to Elle and invites her to spend lunch with her and Darcy. Nick starts to hide his thoughts from his mates, preferring to spend more and more time with Charlie. While this is happening, Teo does some sleuthing to find out that Nick apparently likes Tara. Instead of asking about it, Charlie invites Nick over to his place instead, and Elle finds out that Tara is dating Darcy. While at Charlie's house, we see Nick looking to act on his new feelings for Charlie while Charlie is asleep. He cannot do it at first, but as he goes to leave, we get the first Nick hug. He cannot look at Charlie before he leaves, but once he's at home, Nick starts to research what he is feeling. There is so much going on here, so let's take a look. Crush. I know it is the job of the episode title to give you an idea of what the episode is about, but the one-word titles of Heartstopper are always on point. Both Nick and Charlie have crushes in this episode, but they play out very differently. Charlie very obviously has a crush on Nick. He talks to his friends about it, he talks to Mr. Agi about it, and even given the overwhelming conclusion from his friends that Nick is straight, he cannot stop spending time with him. He also starts to believe that Nick might not be straight, given how Nick has been acting.
You know how I thought you were straight? Well, I've kind of been feeling like maybe he isn't.
Nick, on the other hand, is not sure what is going on with himself. All he really knows is that he likes spending time with Charlie. Unlike Charlie, he has no one he can trust to talk to about what he's going through. We get the idea that his mates might not be the best people, as his mum confirms that Nick is much more himself when he's around Charlie. When Charlie invites Nick over to his place, we see Nick truly battling between what he believes about himself and what he is feeling, even if he's not sure what it is yet. Messages. There is something so real about the start of this episode, with both Nick and Charlie not being able to express themselves in their messages. Nick is unsure of where their friendship is at, and worried about saying the wrong thing, given what's happened to Charlie. You feel like he goes through a full range of emotions just trying to write his first message to Charlie that night. He starts by typing that it's okay for him saving Charlie, but he knows that it's not okay at all. And although he was glad he was there, nothing about the situation is okay. He then tries the "it seems like a serious situation" approach, but this is way too personal right now. They don't know each other that well yet, and prying like this is not in Nick's nature. It is also not in Nick's nature to lay down the law like he tries with his next message, with saying don't talk to Ben anymore. Given what he overheard, he would never want to dictate to Charlie like that, and even the lol at the end of the message doesn't soften the demand enough to make it okay. He finally settles on, "Are you feeling okay?" This is a safe, friendly approach, but changing it from "Are you okay?" to "Are you feeling okay?" makes it harder for Charlie to keep denying what he is going through. Charlie's default into wanting everything to be fine and perfect has him immediately brushing off all the bad things. Credit to Nick for knowing that Charlie is probably lying and tries again with the "Are you sure?" Something in Charlie stops him from answering. He cannot lie to Nick in the face of that much sincerity, but he cannot open up either. The fear of being a burden on the people around him, let alone the person he is really starting to like, makes it impossible for him to write anything. We see his frustration at himself, knowing that it's not that hard, but he's still afraid to do it. This lack of response scares Nick, and after 10 minutes of trying to distract himself with Nelly, he feels compelled to reach out once more. offering the hand of friendship and trust, and someone just to listen to the story, if Charlie wants. Charlie does. At the end of the story, Charlie's reaction is to be worried about Nick's feelings, so he says sorry about dumping on one of Nick's friends. Nick doesn't even stop to think, and he says that he's not a friend anymore. We get confirmation that Nick is straight, and this tanks Charlie's mood, but it bounces right back when Nick proposes violence towards Ben.
Oh, Paige is proposing violence against the monkey.
What incredible acting from these two, as there is no dialogue, but everything they are feeling is there to see. You feel like they're really true friends now, even if they weren't before. Friends versus mates. Charlie has friends, Nick has mates, and this is really obvious in how this episode plays out. Charlie goes to his friends for help and advice. They are supportive and caring. They look out for Charlie and do what they can to be there for him. Isaac is the quiet friend and is there to boost Charlie up and encourages him to pursue Nick. When he gets called out by Teo for putting unrealistic ideas in Charlie's head, he says,
"But I want to believe in romance."
Teo is the loud, overprotective friend that cannot help but butt in. He is very vocal about how straight Nick is, without any proof.
As your token straight friend, it's my duty to remind you that sometimes people are straight.
He even goes behind Charlie's back, in the name of protection, to find out about Nick. A mutual friend of Teo and Nick's confirms that Nick apparently likes Tara. When he sees how affected Charlie is by this news, he immediately arranges a get-together with the group to try and cheer Charlie up. Elle is the calm, level-headed one, and is prepared to question her brand new friends to find out the gossip for Charlie. She's also able to give him hope in the form of information that Tara is not interested in Nick at all. Nick, on the other hand, has mates, and we see that he's not able to open up to them in any way. He plays rugby and hangs out with them before school, but we feel like it's more out of convenience. We see him about to message Charlie so that they can hang out again, but when his mates tease him about it, he deletes it. He's not confident enough to follow through on what he wants when they are around. We also feel and see that Nick needs to be a different person when he's with them. He isn't all smiles. He's not talking much. Even his mum notices the difference in him after spending the day with Charlie. He cannot talk to these people about what he's going through, so he goes through it alone. For now. An unsure Nick. One of the best parts of this show is watching the characters come into their own. Nick's journey really does start here, as he starts to question if something more is going on with him and Charlie. It starts off simple with them messaging a lot, so much so that they lose track of time. Nick then invites Charlie over so he can meet Nelly. This is where things start to really change in how Nick acts towards Charlie. We know from Tori that Charlie's hair
Looks the same.
But is that okay?
It looks the same.
after his haircut, but when Nick sees it, he is like,
"You got a haircut?"
and starts playing with it. He also fumbles over his words.
No, it looks great.
After the two of them muck around in the snow, having a great time, we see Nick happy and energetic until he is seated with his mates at school. He wants to spend more time with Charlie, but cannot seem to send the message when he's under the pressure of his mates. Imogen and the boys tease him about messaging someone, and it really gets to him, forcing him back into his shell and deleting the message. There is a fear there. There is nothing wrong about hanging out with Charlie as a friend, but this reflex to hide would suggest that it's starting to be more than just a friendship for Nick. Nick is shown to be very interested in Charlie. He knows all the things he's good at, complimenting him on them.
Let's see, you're good at video games, literally all school subjects, but especially maths.
But he also notices when Charlie is not at his best, like in the classroom. Charlie is panicking about what Nick might say if he knew Charlie had a crush on him, and Nick notices him being spaced out. He gets in low and close to try and get Charlie to open up. There is something almost intimate about this moment, with Nick knowing the best way to get Charlie talking. Nick is also very happy when Charlie invites him over. When Nick is in Charlie's space, we see Nick's confusion in full force. When they are playing the drums together, we see Nick gets flustered in a way we haven't seen to this point. He's not sure how to act or react to Charlie holding his hands and sitting so close to him as they play. We really see his confusion when they're on the couch. Nick reaches out and wants to hold Charlie's hand. The explosive visuals are amazing here, and you really get the sense that Nick holding Charlie's hand would be explosive and as amazing as fireworks. But he cannot bring himself to do it. The fear of what it could mean, the fear of being caught doing it, and the fear of liking it all stop him, and he closes himself off tightly, crossing his arms, putting his hands away from temptation. Nick's unfamiliar feelings do push him to do something though. He may not be able to hold a sleeping Charlie's hand, but he can hug a comfy-looking Charlie in the entrance. Tori says what we're all thinking.
I don't think he's straight.
We see more confusion than ever when Nick gets home, and he starts his research, which we'll cover in the next episode review. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on it. Nelly Appreciation. Told you we would come back for Nelly. Here we have the cutest puppy, and I wish I was Charlie, so I got to go over to Nick's house to meet her. Look at her playing in the snow, and here being the best friend for Nick. And one more before we go. Episode 2 gives us a look into the differences of Charlie and Nick and what they might be dealing with. Charlie being attracted to the supposed straight guy, and Nick starting to suspect he isn't straight. The friendship between Nick and Charlie feels so much more fun to explore, and we get to see all the other characters starting to really interact with each other. If you don't want to miss the next episode analysis, make sure you subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and let's see what other secrets we can uncover next time on Nerdy Investigations.